Australia. Both hailing from Mombasa, as all Mombasans do, they have remained bonded in a true friendly northern nature. Associate Professor Raghu Sharma trained at Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney and worked at Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. Since 2004, he has been working at Westmead Hospital and present. He has been working as a senior consultant in the Department of Tissue Pathology and Diagnostic Oncology. For many years, Dr. Sharma worked in the New South Wales Breast Screening Unit at Parramatta and Liverpool. He is the Chief Gynecological Pathologist and does also work with cytopathology, sarcoma and melanoma diagnostic work. He is a Senior Staff Specialist at Westmead Hospital and has been the Supervisor of Registrars for more than 10 years. Dr. Sharma has also served as an Acting Director for more than 3 years. He is a member of the Research Advisory Committee and Translational Committee for Australia New Zealand Gynecological Pathology Group. Dr. Sharma is also a Royal College of Pathologists of Australia Examiner and chairs the RCPA Pathology Outreach Educational Committee. For the last 15 years, Dr. Sharma has been instrumental in setting up postgraduate pathology training in many of the South Pacific Island countries. He is also an examiner for the Fellow of Royal Australian New Zealand College of Pathology and chairs the Australasian Division of the International Society of Gynecological Pathologists. In his personal capacity, Dr. Sharma has dedicated enormous time and effort in improving the health status in the Pacific and other developing countries. He is the go-to person for many not-so-fortunate families and for the help of their relatives in Sydney. Dr. Sharma continues to help the local communities with major effort to improve people's health status. Apart from his professional expertise, Dr. Sharma is widely involved with the Arya Samaj fraternity in various capacities and is also a huge teacher of Vedic and yogic philosophies, thereby seeking to enhance the mental, physical, and spiritual development of all. He is happily married with 2 adult children as well. We are indeed privileged to hear from a person of Dr. Sharma's caliber today. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you Dr. Raghu Sharma.
Om Bhurvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devas Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodayat. O God, giver of life, remove pains and sorrows, bestow of happiness, creator of the universe, the utmost luminous, pure and adorable. We meditate on thee. Please inspire and guide our intellect in the right direction. न्यू साउथ वेल्स आर्य समाज के वेटरन जी, प्रधान, जितने कार्यकर्ता हैं, सत्येन जी, आपके परिवार, आप सभी को दीपावली की शुभकामनाएं। आप सभी को धन्यवाद मुझे यहाँ पर निमंत्रण देने के लिए। It's really a privilege to be our own people, people who are attempting to preserve our culture and religion. It is very admirable. And first of all, I'd like to thank Vinny. First time I've heard you doing the horn and I was very impressed. Keep up your good work. Satyam's family, people who are involved with trying to do more than what our daily activities are. It is very beautiful because as we grow older, you realize that life is actually demands that you have more interest in life. In some ways, we are very privileged that we have a civilization, and it's probably most ancient civilization which is surviving still, and to have survived to the difficulties it has, and now we are living in a country like this where I can see young children actually being involved with it. It actually makes me feel very good. One of the reasons why I actually involve myself with celebrations and avail myself, like then invited me, is so that I can actually make it relevant for our daily life. Sometimes, and it is very, it's right for our young generation to question, what are we doing? Is it worthwhile? Is it any relevant to today's living? And they are all very genuine questions. So as a doctor, as a person who is at the cutting edge of science, I have that knowledge to bring in and tell you, is it seriously required? And I can tell you yes, and I'll give you examples of why something like this, such beautiful, a small gathering like this, is where these values are actually put into children. And our ancestors actually did it for thousands, literally thousands and thousands of years. And to have been preserved and to continue doing this is a very beautiful feeling for me, to see how it's. So the reasons why we should do it. We all are short of time. All of us have huge mortgages. What is the need to actually seriously do something when you could do some real walk outside and get a few more bucks? Yeah, that's a genuine question. The body is not only physical body, and this is medical science. I'm not telling you. Body has this physical component plus a mind. And if you don't want to believe that there's a third component, which you all have the right, young children here, to question, is there soul or atma or energy or prana? We can talk about it later. But just to make your life good enough, in a physical sense, it's actually very important that you are not only dependent on your senses, the 10 senses that we have, listening, tasting, touching, and speaking. 5 इंद्रियां जो 5 कर्म 5 ज्ञान इंद्रियां उसे कहते हैं ना, तो that gives you very limited information. What we see, what we hear, what we taste is actually 10% only of what we are actually getting. So if you understand science, the width of listening is far bigger. What we can see, and that's why animals are there, to teach us. A dog can smell auna 500 meters away or something like that. As a deer can see a moon very clearly. So it's a limitation in our senses, which is actually that once you realize that being a human, and we say it's 84 lakh yoni, 4.8 million species are there, and when you get a human life, it's a very privileged state. So you can't just be like an animal, because the cycle of living, rebirth, reincarnation is, if you don't actually do the right things in this lifetime, actually you'll end up there, because that was your propensity in life. So it's a two-edged sword, a human life. It's a very serious birth in itself. So if we don't take responsibility of this life, then you are actually go back to something which really from where you came anywhere. So what we do in this lifetime, apart from our daily activities, bread and butter and all this stuff, is actually to make sure you start communicating with your inner self, which is the mind. And the mind, where it sits, is called, it's subconscious, and 90% of our function is done by mind actually. So a festival like this, why it's so important? The Hindus have been very intelligent in that way, and I say rishis were our research scientists. We can date as far as back as we can. By carbon dating, it is still 10,000, 20,000 years old. And there are other structural evidence of the bridge between South India and Sri Lanka, where Ram traveled to kill Ravana. So that's 100,000 years old. So leave the evidence. The thing is, once we realize our ancestors, they made these festivities, and if you notice Indian or Hindu festivals, it starts in January and it's in December almost, and there's a very specific reason for doing this thing. So your body, as a physical body, a mind, body, and a soul, needs to be looked after. And our research, rishis and munis, what they did, they created these festivals. So when you are into a festival mood, obviously, and being a Hindu, you are suddenly moving from tamasic or rajasic sthiti to sattvic. So that was one thing without realization it happens, and for Deepavali you are already actually in a sattvic mood. Sattvic mood meaning you are thinking good things, you are cleaning your house, you are doing right things, you are doing You're being ahimsic, meaning you're not going to bring meat or kill anyone and hurt anything. Yeah, so by default, it's actually doing it. And if you do it for 10, 12 months, actually, even doing one festival has removed you from that month, a week at least has gone. So without realizing the festivals do that. So Deepavali specifically has multiple reasons why we celebrate, because of our ancient, just the chronology of it is so old. So if you go back to Satvik, what's called Satya Yuga, so there we divide, Hindus divide, the life cycle into Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, and Kalyug, and this goes 100 times. Each of them, Kalyug being 472,000, something like that. So we are only 5,000 in it. So don't think the whole world is ending. The rubbish that we'll have to see is far worse than this. So you double it up, becomes Dwapar. You double it up, becomes Treta. You double it up, becomes Satyug. So Satyug Samay, or in a Satyug, it was Hiranyakashyap, Parshuram Samay. Yeah? The reason why Deepavali was celebrated was, it was before Ram. Ram came in Treta. So it what's called Navshreshti Yaj. Navshreshti Yaj is, in India, it's autumn time. So the harvest is brought home. So Hindus had this culture, in Indus Valley civilization had this culture that where you bring something, you have to basically, it's like a Thanksgiving day. And Havan Yajna is so nicely performed. So imagine 100,000 years ago, and something like now Vinith, in his age, is doing it here now, has survived. And one of the reasons why it survived is because of Swami Dayanand. So we'll talk about a little bit later, and that is the reason why you as a group are here. But just to give credit to the person who actually preserved this Yajna ceremony, which is hundreds of thousands of years old. So it was actually, and people who are from village, when our parents did it too. So whenever they had a harvest, they would actually bring it home, do a yajna, and then part of it would go to the priest of the village, and Pandit Bhual Arya was the Pandit in Lambasa. So our ghee, our things, mother would put it together, and it will be going to him every Deepavali. So my friends who are doctors, educated guys, would say, what's the point? A god who is billion galaxies are there, why would a god want anything for themselves? The thing is, it's not about God actually. And that's what, when I was trying to explain, you look after your physical body and mental body. Let's not even talk about Atma Paramatma. Because if you don't look after this body and mind, and this is why most young generation get disappointed and don't really follow religion, because they think there's no tangible benefit happening. So I step back. I don't actually push people to go become spiritual level, which religions should do and which we are attempting to do. But just step back a little bit, look after your body first, and by then you look after your mind. Doing those two things makes you actually get ready. So most of the time we aren't ready, and that's why there's a disappointment. Because you think you'll jump over. No, you can't. You have to follow these rules. And someone said about dharma, we are righteous people. We follow moral ethics. We are not afraid. We don't have a God, a creator, somewhere, hell or heaven. We don't believe in being scared of anything. We believe in righteousness, dharma, following the rules. That's what it teaches. So when you do yajna, when you give thanks to God, it's actually expression of gratitude. Gratitude is a very powerful impulse inside our body. This is science. So if someone wants to be healthy, someone wants to actually be energetic, someone wants to actually progress either materially, by intellect, spiritually, you really need to actually be able to express gratitude in your life. So yajna, that's why it's called the biggest Thanksgiving ceremony that one can do, because when you add a thing and Hongkong is outside, you don't need to know your neighbor. You don't need to know anyone. But Nishkam Karam is happening. With no expectation of anything, what you have done people all over taking in very sattvic, pure ingredients of your hard work, and you pray. So the Creator gives you blessing because you are creating goodness in you. You have expression of gratitude. You are being grateful. That is what is actually the blessing of God. So a lot of time what we do, we cry, pray, and procrastinate and do everything. No, but we don't know how to receive. This is the problem of, I find, in religion, that they don't teach people how to receive blessings. Receiving blessings is by only having a state of yourself. So this ceremony itself started there, and that was the real original reason of actually Deepavali. Then Treta time, Ram, we had to kill Ravan. You'll see effigies depicted in places which is 10 heads. 10 heads, nobody has 10 heads, yeah? It's called vices. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mada, Maya, Matsuriya, Irsha, Dvesh, yeah? These negativities of your life, so pride, jealousy, anger, chal kapat, gossiping, negativities, that's what it represents. So in Treta Samay, during that time, killing Ravan was very educated. He was learned of Vedas and all our scriptures. But so that's why I say education doesn't mean you're intelligent. Anybody can have a degree in anything. But the real person who is intelligent in Ram was different. He had to make sure dharmic principles was followed, so he had to remove Ram. And you know the reason. So when Ram came home, Deepavali was celebrated. Dwapar, which is the stage before what we are in Mahabharata, everybody knows. Krishna came that time, so Rama was that Treta. In that time, and many South Indians celebrate Deepavali. The Asura's name was Narkasura. He actually, after Mahabharata, got hold of 16,000 women and so many priests and other things, and he wanted to control them, and Krishna basically eliminated him. So that's the reason they celebrate there. But just as a passing thing, I want to say that just be careful of what Bollywood has done to Krishna. The whole thing, they say, oh, he was a lover boy. No, he was a protector of these women because they were left single, or the brothers and the fathers and the uncles they had died in Mahabharata war. He looked after them. So many times these movies and things actually make it dirty in a way that even our children then start doubting things, but that's the truth. Okay, so we've been ruled like 500 years by Mughals, then 200 years by British, and now 70 years was Congress, which was no good either. So now with the present government, we are getting back into rhythm, and India is, limelight everywhere, things are happening. That is the thing. For us as from Fiji, it was even more difficult because we were part of a Grimedia group where even a single book would have been very difficult to obtain. So my point is, our Aja Aji, our forefathers really did a hard work, real difficult somewhere with the white people and them controlling. And for Vineet to do Havan and your daughter and son to read something from the book, you have to actually commend yourself, because we were able to, from a Girimit background, and still we are able to preserve our language. You are speaking in Hindi so beautifully, you can read Sanskrit. So we've been able to preserve. So the question becomes then, if through the hardship they were able to give us this knowledge, isn't it our responsibility then to carry on? Yeah. So it is 100 times more important that we maintain this, because they had nothing and they preserved. We have everything. We are in a freedom, a country which is freedom as well. Nobody's going to actually do anything to us. There is freedom of religion, everything. So more than that, what I'm saying now is, they might have had one single book. Yeah, Totaramji brought a single, book, and they tried to, Panditji Lamba Samay, they spread. It was very hard. But that doesn't mean that we should stop there. We know there is unlimited books, and one of the things Swami Dayanand did was actually the whole reform movement that has happened in Hinduism, and as I said, when the Mughals were there for 500 years and then British for that time, obviously our system was broken and Mahabharat war had happened prior to that. So there was destruction. We forgot how to actually practice Hinduism. So, Buddhism erupted from it, and Siddhartha actually died, and that's the reason that Buddhists celebrate. Mahavir died as well in that time, so Jainism separates Diwali that way. And about 400 years ago, Guru Gobind Singh, so Sikhs also celebrate Deepavali. So all these reasons. But in the present time, in our time, the brightest or the most powerful person that came to India was this person, Swami Dayanand Saraswati. It took me now 80 years. I'm writing his life story, and it's like my Tirath Yatra. Yatra. Tirath. What I've learned just following his life, because I wanted to know, because he said, and Vedas say, there is no avatar. This God doesn't come on here. There's billions of galaxies. How can he be in one place? I wanted to know what this man did. How did he become what he became? How did he brought back Vedas, Upanishad, Darshans? How did he actually have arguments on unnecessary superstitious things and wanted to try and get people back onto the truth? And understandably, because of other clashes that India had, we had lost our books. So doing that, what I've realized, just quickly, because Swami Dayanand passed away on 30th October 1883, around 6 p.m., it was Diwali night as well. So he actually himself allowed God basically to take his soul and merge it, because he had already received moksha, emancipation, before. His journey started because he wanted, his sister died, his very close uncle passed away. He wanted to know what life was. Why are we born when we're going to die? These are the questions, and he went away from home and spent entire life on mountains and stuff, and looked after his body. 13 times he was actually poisoned, which he survived because he used to do pranayama, breathing exercises. So he had huge capability to go underwater and hide himself, because they were Muslims, they were British. There were people who wanting to kill at 13 times, and he survived. 14th time is the time, on 30th October 1883, when he passed away. He actually gave himself, but otherwise he had control of healing himself. But that came from these very strenuous practices that he did. He looked after his body. That's why I'm saying you have to look after your body. Then you have to do some breathing exercises, know how to breathe properly. Then you are in control of your body. Then you have the power. And once you do that, then your antennas to your body, these senses that we have, start communicating at an energy level. Because now science believes it's not only Newtonian, which is material-based science. Okay, so why do we use Om as a sound? Everything in world that makes, or you do anything, energy is created by two things hitting together. Yeah, like if you there's a noise. Try saying Om. Om is the only thing in the whole universe which doesn't require two things to actually hit together to produce a noise or sound. That's why it's directly referred to as the energy of the creation. That is what is within the space. So understanding energy level of yourself is very important. So to reach there, these festivities, all these reasons that are there, all together for us, in a way, indirectly, it is guiding us as a community to be healthy. So if it becomes habit, yeah? If you stop eating meat and stuff and refined food, McDonald's and all this stuff, cutting down, obviously your health will be better. There is no rocket science, yeah? These are there to actually, I said this is modern slavery. When we brought as grammarians, we were people, physical slaves. Now, the corporate world makes you a slave. 1 million mortgage. You run at 4 o'clock house, come 8 o'clock, you don't have time for your family. Then you can't have time to cook, so you'll go to the McDonald's and thing. So this is a ploy, this is a plot. And what can we do? We can't get out of it. Our forefathers were in Gilmerty, we are in another form. The only way you can survive is being knowledgeable. And I'm here, and whatever I can, I try and share this knowledge. That just awaken yourself. Because freedom, as I say, is you can take advantage of the goodness, or you can actually drown yourself with all the wrong things that's happening. So you have to, so religion, celebrations that we do, including Deepavali, is a reminder that you slowly in your life change your jaisa an, vaisa man. Jaisa ahar, vaisa vyavhar. So your subconscious, your mind, is directly related to what is put in your mouth. This is not about being a Hindu or some ideology that you have to be a vegetarian. No. Your intestines contain 38 trillion bacteria. Bacteria, only good bacteria, is the reason why you have good health. And that comes from probiotics, prebiotics. That's fruits and vegetables. And why we heat and add spices and things, these are combinations to incite and help the bacteria grow in your tummy. Your immune system, 70% of your immune system is within your intestines. You have endocrine cells which produces endorphin, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, good producing hormones. When you have good number of bacteria, your immune system is very good, and some people won't have to have any COVID vaccine. They will be fine. No bacteria, nothing can touch them. But on the contrary, if someone is eating oily food from outside and meat-based, acid-based food and drinking soda and stuff, Coke, you've destroyed your bacteria. So bacteria is directly related to dementia that's happening in the world today, Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, stroke, cancers. So diet, your ahar. So this I'm trying to just go deeper to the celebration part. Yeah, why? And if I give you some knowledge, you might be able to take it home and then maybe change your habits. Never bring 12 can Coke in your house. Never. The worst thing you can do to your children is put them into habit of sugary drinks, because you're destroying their bacteria in the tummy. Apart from getting fat, obese, all the other things, this is the reason. Soda-based drinks, alcohol, toxic to your nerve cells, toxic to your body. So I'm giving you science. I'm not saying because you're a Hindu that's why you should eat vegetarian. No, I'm not saying at all anything. There's nothing about it. Your intestine system is not actually suited anywhere. A meat-eating lion or something has a very short intestine. We have 8 meters of large bowel, 2 meters. It's very long system which requires fruits, vegetables. So ahar, food, an. If you look after it, your mind, your subconscious, which is 90% of control of this body, then you'll be able to actually have